Good morning. Today we are going to continue the next part of turbines. Now today we'll try and learn about the Pelton wheel. So first thing is how the working of that Pelton wheel actually takes place. Before that we'll try to learn about the principle behind the working of Pelton wheel. So you can see that all available energy of water is first of all converted into kinetic energy, or we can call it as velocity head also, by using certain arrangement like contracting nozzle, which is provided at the end of penstock. So this kinetic energy is used in case of Pelton wheel. We have already learnt about that thing. Now how this Pelton wheel works. So for understanding the working of that Pelton wheel, we'll try and learn about, or we'll try to see this diagram. So in this diagram you can see the construction of Pelton wheel turbine. First thing is this vertical pipe. This is called as the penstock. The penstock is connected to the reservoir from where we are going to take the water. We already learnt the method by which we can take that water in previous lecture, where we have seen the hydroelectric power plant. So through that reservoir water is taken towards this turbine by using penstock. Now this penstock is mainly used so as to move the water from reservoir to the turbine house. This total assembly is called as the turbine house. Now when we consider the movement of that water at the end or at the outlet of that penstock, there is provision of nozzle. This nozzle is used to form a jet of water. That jet of water will strike the buckets. These buckets are mounted on runner. Now this central part, this is called as the runner, and on that runner a number of buckets are mounted. So the water jet coming out of that nozzle, it strikes the buckets and it starts rotating the buckets in forward direction. Ultimately, as these buckets are attached to the runner, that runner also starts rotating. This runner is again attached to the shaft, and when the shaft moves, the movement is taken care of and it is again attached to the generator which produces the electricity. So this is the working of Pelton wheel turbine. In this diagram we can see the various parts. We have to see the meaning of all these things and the importance of all these things. So we'll see those one by one. Now next is the main components of Pelton wheel. Now Pelton wheel, or sometimes we use the word Pelton wheel turbine. Both of them are synonymously used. So these are the four important parts. First one is runner and bucket. Second one is nozzle. Third one is casing, and fourth one is braking jet. Now we'll see one by one. First one is runner with the buckets. Now in this picture we can see one schematic diagram and photograph of a Pelton wheel. Now in this schematic diagram, this central part, this larger thing, it is nothing but the runner. We can see that runner in this photograph also. Again, on this runner, number of buckets, evenly spaced buckets are mounted. We can see those buckets in this photograph also, and to the center of that runner there is provision of shaft. We can see that shaft in this photograph again. Okay. Now we have to learn about the buckets, because these buckets are very much important as we are going to make use of them. So we'll try to learn about them in detail. Now when we consider the bucket, if we consider any bucket, it is having a certain shape. That shape is hemispherical, double hemispherical shape. Okay. Now we can see that this total bucket, or it is also called as bowl, it is symmetrically divided into two parts by one sharp edge. This sharp edge is called as the splitter. Okay. So this central part is nothing but the splitter. Now when we see the next thing, the splitter, what is the purpose of this splitter? It divides the jet into two equal halves. We can see that in the next diagram. So suppose the jet is striking in this rightward direction, it will strike this bucket at this portion. This portion is nothing but the splitter. So that splitter divides the jet into two halves. Suppose half part in upward and half part in downward direction. So this is the main function of that splitter, right? Now next one, when these buckets are shaped in such a way that jet gets deflected through 160 to 170 degrees. That means jet is striking in this direction, it will deflect half part in upward and half part in downward direction, and when we see that it gets out of this edge, it is getting deflected through 160 to 170 degrees. At the lower tip of bucket, a notch is cut to avoid the deflection of water towards the center of wheel. So this is the function of that notch. Now we have already seen this diagram. Now in this diagram we have to learn about the various parameters which will be helpful for us in next study, where we are trying to find out the work done and power generated by the turbine. So first thing is small d. Small d stands for diameter of jet. You can see that part in here. This is the diameter of jet. Second one is the length, or sometimes it is called as the height of that bowl or bucket. You can see that here, capital L. Now its value usually ranges between 2d to 3d, where again small d stands for diameter of jet. Capital B, width of the bucket. You can see that width of bucket in this as well as in this. So there are certain standards which we may follow. Again, width will be equal to 3 to 4 times the diameter of the jet. Capital T stands for depth of the bucket. Okay. So from that front edge to the last end of that bucket, we can consider that width as the depth of the bucket. Again, we can take it equal to 0.27 to 0.32 times the width of the bucket. And last one is M, that is notch width. So you can see that notch width in this section. So it is equal to 1.1 to 1.2 times the diameter of jet. These are some of the standards which are followed when we consider the bucket which is mounted on Pelton wheel. Next is nozzle and flow regulating arrangement. We already learnt about the nozzle in previous unit, that is impact of jet, but again we'll revise that part. So to control the quantity of water striking the runner, that means the bucket, the nozzle is fitted at the end of the penstock and it is provided with a spear. Spear is this portion. Okay. So this total is nothing but the spear. It is either operated manually by using this wheel, or you may automatically operate it also. Now when we use that spear, that means we are using to regulate the water which is coming out of this nozzle. If we try to push this spear in forward direction, then the water flow is going to get decreased, and if we push that spear in backward direction, then the flow of water is going to get increased. So why we do this? So whenever there is variation in requirement of electrical energy, so in that case we have to operate the turbine at various capacities, and to regulate the flow we use this arrangement which is nothing but the spear. Next, casing. Now I will just show you the previous diagram again, where you can see the casing. This is the turbine house. Now this total assembly, where a runner, a buckets, a shaft is shown. This total assembly is being kept in one part which is nothing but the casing. This is called as the casing. Now why we use that casing? The main function of casing is to prevent the splashing of water. Okay. That means whenever we are striking the jet onto the runners, then there is possibility that water may spill out from that portion. So to avoid that, we use this casing. Again, it sometimes acts as safeguard against the accident, as runner and bucket, they are moving continuously. So to avoid the hazards or accidents, we may use casing as the safeguard also. It does not perform any hydraulic function, and it is made up of cast iron or fabricated steel plates. Next one is braking jet. Again, I will show you that previous diagram, so you will be able to see the location of that braking jet. So on this top part we can see the braking jet. Now we'll try to see what are the different functions of braking jet. Now whenever there is large Pelton wheel, so usually in that case we provide this braking jet. The small nozzle directs a jet of water on back of the buckets, thereby wheel quickly rests after its shutdown. Okay, that means when we strike the jet on runners, it will rotate. So suppose in this case the runner is rotating in this direction. Now whenever we need to stop the runner or turbine, then because of this inertia this wheel continues rotating, and to stop that we use this braking jet, which is been put from the backward direction. So it stops the movement of that runner as well as the buckets. And last one is deflector. Now deflector is quite similar to that of the braking jet. It is fixed below nozzle and it deflects the direction of jet while we need to stop the wheel. That means I can move this deflector in upward direction, and then this jet will get diverted in this direction. So it will now strike the buckets from backward direction and it will try to stop the wheel. Again, it does not have any hydraulic function. So these are the different parts of the Pelton wheel turbine. In next lecture we'll study about the different parts of the Pelton wheel again. Parts means then we'll try to calculate the work done and power generated. Thank you.